Attention, please. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Crypto Night Show. Your host Superman in the house, and woohoo, got some big news. RocketX has listed PulseChain, so that's great news. So we're going to talk about that coming up. So I hope you guys enjoy that news. Pretty cool. We've got a few little clips around the ProveX sacrifice we're going to talk about, and the outlook for PulseChain from Richard Hart. It's all coming up. We're obviously going to check out the stock market and the crypto market, and we're also going to hear from the SEC at the end. So if you stay tuned for the end, we're going to talk about the SEC and the crypto policy coming out from them. So it's going to be a fun show. All right, let's get into it. Before we do, though, don't forget to smash the repost button on X. Take a moment to hit that. It would be really great. And, of course, if you guys are new on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. So we're getting some really good growth, particularly on PulseChain X, but across the board on YouTube, which is nice to see. So a big welcome to all the new subscribers. We're streaming on 3 channels, the Crypto Night Show, Superman Crypto, and PulseChain X. So don't forget to subscribe and hit the like, hit the bell, all that good stuff, and share the channels around. It really helps a lot. If you're on X, of course, hit the repost button and also share it around. All right, the other big thing, of course, if you haven't joined our strategy club, the link's in the video description on YouTube and also pinned at the top there through the Whoop store on X. And it's only just over $1 a day to join up to that, and that is $35 a month. So get all the latest intel on crypto and PulseChain and everything else in there every single day. So join up; it's pretty cool. All right, what else? Should we get into the show? Let's do it. All right, we're going to jump into the stock market first and see how we went on for Thursday's results. So we're checking on that. And we can see at the moment S&P 500 struggles for direction as investors await inflation data, which we know is coming on Friday, right? And that's the PCE data, so that will be tomorrow. And we can see at the moment the Dow Jones is just down a tad, 32 points, 47,850. S&P 500 is actually up 0.1%, 6.5 points to 6,856. The Nasdaq is up 0.2%, 51 points to 23,500. So all it's still looking pretty good. And we've had a pretty good run this week, right? Pretty good run this week. Let's have a look at the Nasdaq on the weekly chart. And we can see, we're still up for the week. So that's kind of cool. We're up a couple hundred points. What's that? 220 points or so. US dollar is strengthened a little bit there, up at 99. And the commodities at the moment, West Texas at $59.73, up 1%, 1.3%. Brent oil is it's closed there or flat. That's at $63. And gold, of course, which has been doing pretty well, is at $4,237. Finally, we've got silver at $57.52, which has had a really great run, although down $1 today. So pretty good across the board there for commodities. And, of course, as you guys know, we are waiting for the inflation data. We did have the weekly jobless claims, and they declined. So the number of Americans applying for first-time unemployment benefits declined to a 3-week low last week. Seasonally adjusted initial jobless claims came in at 191,000 in the week ending on the November the 29th. It was a decrease of 27,000 from the upwardly revised level of 218,000 the prior week, the lowest mark since September 2022. The labour market comes ahead of the key inflation data, of course, coming for Friday. That's the PCE inflation. And we've got the latest read on inflation is likely to intensify the ongoing debate amongst Fed officials as their next policy move, with the PCE potentially the deciding factor for the Fed regarding the lingering inflation threats. And furthermore, whether a December rate cut is warranted. So obviously we've had a big move towards a dovish Fed, meaning that, rate cuts. We obviously have moved, had the end of quantitative tightening. I think it was on the 1st of December. So we've just passed that, moving to neutral and presumably to expansionary policy with the rate cuts as well. So it's a double win there. And we've also got the Trump administration through Secretary Scott Bessent working on the bank leverage and credit from the Great Recession, and that would open up trillions of dollars worth of capital as well. So it's going to be just the perfect storm for crypto rally. Like really, really cool. Adding to the dovish sentiment is growing speculation over the next Fed chairman, leadership, I should say. So that's the other one there, and the view maybe that Kevin Hassett will possibly be the front runner. He's great. He's fantastic. So that'd be perfect. So let's wish for that. That'd be really cool. There are other good candidates though. So let's have a look at the Fed rate monitor now and see where we're heading. We got 5 days and 20 hours to go. Boy, it's really so. We've got inflation tomorrow, guys, and then we got 5 days after that, we've got the Fed decision. So inflation, Fed decision within the next 6 days. And we've got 85% of the market and is already expecting that to be a 25 basis point cut. That is good news. That'll be the third cut. And of course, the bond market's already front running all that, right? So there's a lot of pressure on the Fed from multiple angles there. We've got Steve right in the house there. Your consistency helps so many of us keep it coming. Hey, thanks, Steve. Appreciate that. Big shout out. So that's where we are right now with the old stock market. So kind of a flat day, but positive things coming through. And as most army says, out season soon. Yeah, the big run. Yeah, the big parabolic run is ahead of us. Despite a few of these corrections kind of expected. Obviously, the liquidation event on the 10th October and the subsequent one, obviously not so much, but that's probably set us up very well for that altcoin season. All right, so that's kind of the play there. Tomorrow's a big day, guys. Maybe, and if we get good news from that PCE rate, maybe I'm not sure what the expectations of that. Actually, I probably should have pulled that up, but anyway, we'll just wait and see what it is. If it's equal to or less than, maybe that's super bullish. We got DJ Paulie Wood in the house there. A big shout out, lots of love there. Nice, big shout out to DJ Paulie Wood. All right, let's get into the crypto market, see where that's going at the moment. We've got Check My Pulse in the house as well. What's shaking Hexkins? The hex price, good for picking up when it's shaking. All right, let's get into the crypto market and see what the majors look like. So crypto market overall, 3.22 trillion based on CoinGecko index, down 1%. We've got Bitcoin at the moment at 92,400, down 1.2%. We've got Ethereum at $3,146, down 0.8%. We've got XRP down 4.4% at $2.10. BNB at number 5 is down 1.3% at $903. Solana at number 6 is down 3.1% at $140. We've got Tron at the moment at number 9, up 1.8%, 28.5 cents. And finally, our top 10, Doge, is down 2.5% at just below 15 cents right now. So those are the top 10. Best performer is obviously Tron in the last 24 hours, and also Ethereum apparently for the last week, up 3.4%. So beating out Tron there. So you're actually up 3.4% on Ethereum this week. Not too bad, but of course it's way down from where it was, 4,900. All right, let's look at the best performer in the top 100. We got Sky up 15% for the week. Quant at number 2 up 10%. Rain at number 3 up 8.3%. Bitcoin Cash up 7.4%. And Chainlink at number 5 is up 6% there. So those are the majors at the moment in the top 100. Top 1,000, we've got Boba Network, Echelon Prime. Sounds like one of those movies, old classics of the 70s movies. And then we've got Solar as well. Very spacey kind of names in the top 1,000. Top 100, top trending overall, Pudgy Penguins, Monad and Fartcoin there. They're the top trending right now. Check My Pulse says DCA is the way, especially at these prices, right? Especially at these prices on PulseChain. To scoop up those scoop volumes and lower your average price and just hold on, because ProveX price, probably the most of the heat's starting to pan out now. It looks like definitely lowered today. Good morning, Chads. We've got Sean O'Malley in the house there. Big shout out. So that is our crypto market majors. That was pretty quick. We're not doing extra charts today, just the basics. We're going to get into PulseChain now and talk about the markets. Before we do that, though, let me have a drink. All right. What day is it, guys? Day 937. 937 since PulseChain launched on the 30th of May, 2023. Full system stake fork of Ethereum on the 10th of May in 2023. And here we are today. So let's get into it. We've got Green Day. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. It's green today. Damn it. We're so used to the down days lately. Now, apparently Ivan on Tech, who's been having good fun with the price going down all the time, apparently in this last video, he said, it was so bad that he didn't even want to make jokes about it. So there we go. Maybe we've hit the bottom there. Maybe we've hit the bottom. But we got Pulse at the moment is at 4 zeros, 16.3. It's at 16% of the mean sacrifice price. By my count, it's about, I don't know, maybe 20%, maybe 20% plus below the actual cost price if you average out the total sacrifice divided by the total coins issued. And I have that at around about 2,000, 2,100 or something. The whale price, of course, was 4,100. So we're well below that. It's up 6.8%. PulseX at the moment, quadruple 0115. That is up 10% today. So good news, 11.5% of the mean sacrifice price. Obviously 4,100 for the whale price as well. But actually, I think I had the cost price at around 3,100. So we got the buy and burn at the moment is at up 8.23%. So that's just slowly creeping up there. Ink token at the moment, 63 cents, up 14.4%. So a nice little jump there. And we've got the Hex on PulseChain, super cheap, but has got a decent bounce today. Just at least slight bounce, I should say, up 7.64% up against Pulse, right, 6.78. EHEX is still below 1/10 of a penny, so get those volumes when you can. 98 thousandths of a penny, I think that is, yeah, 98 thousandths, right, of a penny. And the combined price of EX and PX is at 38 hundredths of a penny. There we go. You try and say hundreds and thousandths all the time on those live streams. It takes a little while to get used to. All right. Sometimes it's even worse than that, right? The more zeros. I might have to do a training session myself just to go even more zeros, add more zeros. All right, so that's kind of where we are right now. So Green Day, guys, Green Day. Let's take it. Let's take it to the office here. All right, so let's go have a look at the rest of the results. So we've got gas prices at the moment, 250,000 beats, 1/10 of a penny for a PulseX swap. That's obviously super cheap. We've got 52,393 validators. That seems to be up just slightly. And of course, Pulse is so cheap to get right now to get solo validating. But there's obviously lots of other delegation and other sort of options out there. But that is doing pretty well. Bridge, let's look at the bridge results. Bridge results at the moment 81.2. So I think we're at 80.9 yesterday. So looks like we're up about 300K on the old bridge value there. I haven't got the snapshot from PulseChain stats, but we'll ignore that today. Let's go over to the results at the moment. We're at 9.5 million in volume. We have had some quite high days lately, but they've all been on the downside, right? Because of money moving into ProveX, which we're going to look at that later on. But we're currently at $9.5 million, and we were doing about 14, 16 or something like that the last couple of days. Top coin at the moment is a Dunamis there. It's even got some sponsored electricity there for Dex Screener. That is up 240%. Now, I'm not endorsing anything, remember, so just because I'm looking at it, I'm not endorsing anything or anything like that. I review the top 100 virtually every day. And let's have a look. It's got any explanation there. For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power. There we go. Of love and of sound mind, Timothy. Well, let's hope that it's an ethical token. People can use the truth of God for scamming people, right? So hopefully it's not one of those. All right, so that is up at the moment. We've got the world's greatest PDI print at number 2 at 24%. We've got Nexus there fighting for that spot as well, up 22%. It's been around for a day. Good old Nexus there. P Tiger from Tiger Crypto God, a rising influencer star on the old X, up 22% right now, and that's actually made a recovery there. So it looks like it found some good support at the 61.8 Fibonacci at 35 hundredths of a penny. Now almost back at 0.5 cent. Looking very good there. The ratio I think must be look pretty good to the pulse. Yeah, look at that. It's looking very good, actually, much better. The all-time high ratio was 360. We're at just about 300 now. And we're at a high today of 271. So looking pretty good. So we keep momentum on a little bit of rebound on pulse. That could be very exciting. The more days we move through too, the more information we get, more calm the market gets. Liberty at the moment up 20%. It's been around for 6 months. DevCoin up 17% there. Number 6 Anon at number 7, up 17%. Swarm up 15%. Number 8. Number 9 is BBC token from 9-inch, up 15%. And then we got another PDI printer there, Peer. We got 2 of those in the top 10. So that's the top 10 there. Now we've got this $1, which is one of the sacrifice pools from, supported a lot by B-Roots and Ian Heinisch. That's up 15% today. Let's have a quick look at that. Not endorsing this at all. I don't actually like this one, just the way that was set up with the holders at the beginning. So this is 5 zeros, 1883 right now. Might be fair value in there if you can get a share of the sacrifice potentially. Although it's got a definition about excluding LPs and stuff like that, so you do need to read the fine print. But I'm not a really big fan of that at all because it's just a big setup, really. I'm not really a big fan in some ways of the ProveX pool one either, not because of the service that it provides, but because of the ridiculous commission charging is just just greed. I'm all for capitalism and getting fair returns. But that it was just ridiculous, right? Just ridiculous. 33%, guys. It's just greed. Just greed. I can't believe they were that greedy. Can't believe they were greedy. Number 12 is ALGO, up 15% right now. And that's a 0003500 on the old there. So obviously Hex get a bit of recovery. That's going to be helpful. PTC at number 13, up 15%. Bria, that's Bria, isn't it? Up 14%. We may see a big, this is getting a lot more support from Jen, Rack and Michelle's wife, who's the CEO of Coinbound, and this is supposed to be the AI agent for a lot of those platforms. So at least for the Coinwell one, so this could get quite a big strong re-rate at some stage. We'll keep a lookout. It's not certain. We know it's the thing, but it's certainly looking a bit more positive with some of the X posts and stuff. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Stake ETH at the moment, number 15, is up 13%. PTC the Greys, number 16, is up 13% as well. Super cheap right now. And of course, they just had their new dashboard release, bouncing off 4 zeros, 8100, now at 4 zeros, 9400. Not too far away from losing a zero, which is probably a good sign if they can do that. The RSI, of course, on the daily is been well oversold many times. The weekly, not quite at the bottom there. So we'll see whether it can hold up here. We might see a bit of a reversal there if we can get a pulse getting a bit of momentum. What else? Incentive token, we're down there. Doubt token, number 19. I saw some people talking about trying to prop up some of the top meme coins like Doubt token from the pump tires to see whether they can get some traction and get people to rally behind it. But that's true for all the coins, right? And often not always, but to sustain such a momentum is pretty tough. Kind of got to let the market do its thing, but it's up 11%. Zendog there, tied into Peacock, is up 10% at number 22. Atropa is up 10% as well, just below that from James Maria. Zero Trust there is up 10%. And I think that site was founded or done by Gerardo, I think. But that's number 24, also tied into Peacock. 25, PTC Peer there with Atropa. Number 26, up 10% is Trump token. Pump tires. We've got 9-inch down here at number 29, up 10% as well. So we've got 30 coins, or at least 30 peers in the top 100, up over 10%, 30 of those. Love.io from Mr. Anderson is here as well at number, it's just gone to number 30, but that is up 9.9%. We've got UFO down there as well at number 34, up 9%, almost 10%. Most wanted here, up 9% as well. So most in doubt were the ones that they were looking at in terms of trying to push up. But they might as well go with Peacock, right? That's kind of the number one. What else we got going on here? We got scrolling down a little bit further here. Got a lot of movements going on. We got Finvestor at number 42. Finvestor at number 42, up 8.6%. Peacock at the moment, number 43, up 8%. 9mm, Dex, our second biggest Dex, up 3.3% at the moment. That's at number 44. Then we got some Reserve Tays and some James Maria Teddy Bears, and a Peacock at number 49 as well, the other pair. And then number 50 is Moonex, up 7.3%. Let's have a quick look at the 9mm volume at the moment. 1.3 million, so it's not too bad. PulseX volume at the moment is 7.9 million. 9-inch, which has hardly got anything left on it now, is it? Yeah, I mean, it was really held up by SolidX, and since all that change is all changed, it's only at 38k, so not too much happening on the old 9-inch anymore. We'll see whether Hexy Bastard wants to come in and do something with that, but we'll find out. We haven't seen much from him so far. Right, so let's jump down to number 50. We got Pepe at number 54, up 7%. That might do pretty well. Pepe might do pretty well, obviously with a big brand name like that. Certainly down now, but might get a reversal after PulseChain stops bleeding out. Might have a little pump back to the upside, but we'll see. It's all the risk return assessments, right? You're going to make risk return. What's your probability? And then the hardest thing in crypto is timing, right? Hardest thing is crypto's timing. What else we got going on here? Let's scroll a little bit down here. We've got Peahen, number 5061, up 6%. Source on mini meal at 4 cents, up 6% at number 63. Pump tires at number 66 is up 5.8%. And this is kind of where Pulse is right at. So we've probably got 2/3 of the market that are doing as well as or better than Pulse at the moment. So about 2/3 of the market. So it's not too bad today. Very modest still. When we're not talking like 20, 30%, 40% gains and doing any of that sort of altcoin season stuff yet, day after day, but that's still not bad. Scrolling down a bit further down here, we've got some others. Gophers. I don't know, Sparta going to have much of a life. I'm not really sure now, but yeah, we'll see. X game down here at 11/100th of a penny, up to a little bit there. Solid X at 43 cents right now. Unity, which someone made a comment about Unity, didn't they? Most Army says Unity has some news coming. Oh, really? We'll check that out now. Also, Vault might be live by Christmas. Yeah, so that's very exciting. I did go through all those yesterday. Most Army. I went through. Vault was one of the top 5. Coming potentially by Christmas, although I had PUSD, and that's probably not, at least the earliest would be at the end of first quarter next year, is my guess. Just guesses on my part, but we've got BD. I'm not sure what that is. All right, don't spam, whatever that is. All right, what else we got? So Unity there at the moment, pretty much break even. Slightly out of the money is time dividend number 92, up down 0.5%. And what else there? We've got Scouter down here as well. Vouch and I'm on Validator is down 4.4% at the moment. Still not stopped selling down a little bit. But actually, I had a big sell yesterday. But this is starting to look more friendly, right, for an entry. The RSI is down pretty low. It's kind of looking good. Once Pulse gets a bit of a comeback, maybe 2. Obviously, there's a lot of big holders in there too. So you've got to take that into account. All right. So let's scroll back up here. We're going to look at Unity, won't we? Because I think it is day 110, is it? I think it might be day 110. Let's have a look here. Day 109. So, guys, last day before the fractal goes. Last day. So that's pretty cool. We've got 43 million coins, so 44% is liquid. And we're waiting for that fractal burn, this pool of money. What's it? $111,000, $112,000. It's going to be transferred over to the buy and burn over here, and it's going to top that up, which has already got a good amount of money in there. So what's that? 120. So another 130. It's $250,000 in the buy and burn, and the buy and build's still got 22,000 in it also. So yeah, interesting times for that. So that's about to happen. And that will be the phase 4. And someone, Most Army is saying that Unity has some news coming soon. So yeah, we are expecting a big protocol to come for the benefit Unity and Taurus. So we'll keep an eye out on that. I think we're going to try and set up an interview with Cryptographics for day 110. So I might have to follow up with them after the live stream on that. All right, so that's cool for Unity. We'll see where the price goes from here. It's 5.5 cents right now. Probably more importantly is the PulseX ratio, which is at 5,000, is it? Yeah, 5,000. So we'll keep tabs on that. All right, so that is the markets today. Keep a look at that. Really, probably the most notable one here is PTI Printer up there. P-Tiger on a bit of a doing pretty well actually on the pulse ratio. I've got Swarm back up there. There's probably some of the more interesting ones at the moment. ALGO is definitely outdoing the Hex repump, up 14%. So that's interesting. So that's pretty much it. All right, so let's go to the news today. The news is mega. It's mega news, and that is that RocketX swapping on 200 chains. That is now added PulseChain. So that is fantastic news. I think we can all agree. And good news. So good news for PulseChain, especially in the current climate. So really cool there. Swap on 200 chains. The MegaDex, RocketX, the MegaDex there. They got 43,000 followers. So that's pretty decent. Swapping on any token to any chain, ultra fast, always at the absolute best price. So there we go. 200 chains integrated. So pretty neat there. app.rocketx.exchange is the link. So I'll post the link to this, but we got a little announcement down here earlier. And that was 12 hours ago. So obviously that's during while I'm sleeping in New Zealand. But PulseChain is finally live on RocketX. Woohoo! Link in the bio. So there we go. Liquidity from 200 chains. RocketX dam is broken, and PulseChain is flooding into PulseChain. All right, so it's kind of cool. And they got a little picture underneath it. 4 hours later, they put this out with 100 USD tethered there on Solana going to PulseChain. So that's pretty neat. So good news there, right? Good news. So congratulations on that. That was pretty neat. So good news to PulseChain. Good news to RocketX there. Big shout out to the team there. We appreciate it. All right. So if you go to the RocketX app, you can actually see. Let me just post that link first in the chat there, so you guys can check it out on YouTube. On X, of course, you can just search for RocketX Exchange. RocketX Exchange. Bam. There we go. Hey, we've got Fast Abdul in the house there. I'm here for the tech. Good to see you, Fast Abdul. And we've got a fan up here, Most Army here, talking about Vault might be live by Christmas. Tell us if it's true. We've got the founder in the house there, Most Army. Tell us, is it true, Fast Abdul? Let us know. We're excited. We're excited about it. It's it was in my top 5 yesterday. Don't say I don't show the love. Don't show the love. All right, we got the RocketX Exchange there. Bam, there it is. Big news today. Have they timed the bottom of the PulseChain? That's the question. It's looking good for it. All right, so that is the news there. Let's have a look at the app. So obviously you can pick it up here. You can do EVM chains. You can go hunt it down. I've already added it though, but it's down near the bottom. Obviously, because one of the last chains launched, added. It's got Pulse token. There we go. You can even save it to your favorites. You can buy liquidity there, connect your wallet up, all that sort of stuff. It's got converting, spending, history here, and settings. And you've got some more stuff as well. So there's lots of stuff to check out on the old RocketX there. So maybe another one to save to your favorites. How about that? One to save to your favorites there. So that is the big news today. I'm pretty excited about it. So let's not race past it too fast. That is RocketX. Bam. All right. That's going to lead us into our ProveX section of the show. It's a new section, apparently. Stranger things have happened. Vault 369 is ready to add ProveX as collateral. Whoa, guys. That's pretty big alpha. Nice one. I like it. It's magical twinkle today. Woohoo! All right, so we're coming up to the sacrifice. So let's have a look at that. We've got Most Army in with some numbers, but let's do a refresh on the website. We're going to do ProveX next, and let's go there. Bam, and we'll add in Most Army's comment about it because it's true. So 15.4 million in the sack. You are right. 15.396 million. 307 billion points so far. 12,400 sacrifices. So that compares to Pulse, which was something like 48,000, 50,000, somewhere in that ballpark, and PulseX, about 110,000, somewhere in that ballpark. So that's pretty cool. We got 58 minutes to run in the day, and the day is on day, what day? It's day 23. We've got 58 minutes to go before the final results, and that definitely looks like it's tapered off. Do I have a snapshot left? Do I have a snapshot? Where's my snapshots? I'm sure I had a snapshot somewhere. Day 20, day 23. So we're about to start day 24. Now, we did say that the first couple of days probably be still pretty high. We also have the Richard Hart effect from the video, kind of implying, smaller capital raise, bigger X pumps and lots of stuff, and then rotate, in the PulseChain. But we also have, obviously, LP pools have to be set up, right? And that could be pretty interesting with the SAC money that's been raised. Could be a pumpamental for PulseChain. Most Army in-house there. I like what the pool wallet is only 1/3. Was closer to half before. I like the pool wallet there. Yeah, so we're going to go down to that. Let's scroll down. So we're on day 23, about to start day 24. The rate will go from $1.1289 for the base rate to $1.20. $1.20 there. So it starts to creep up. Now, people might reasonably go in there depending on how much X's they think they're going to get. So, anything's still relatively cheap, but, you do get a lot less as the percentage goes up. Top pool, the ProveX pool, is at $5.3 million. It has got 140 billion points. So 5.3 is definitely, more like a third. So good observation there from Most Army. And we've got number 2 there at 315,300. A lot of these other wallets all look coordinated, right? So all these other wallets that popped up here in the top 10. And who they are, whether they're Rackham or somebody, Richard Hart himself, who knows, but they're there at the moment. Not sure if anyone's got any insights into those, but if they have, let us know. All right, that's just freaking out now. Just won't update the data. But let's go back. So that's kind of where we are right now on that. Still spitting a dummy on the loading. I don't know what's happening there. But anyway, that ProveX pool. Now, as you guys know, not really impressed by the ProveX. Like, I'm happy about the service, the public service. It's kind of cool. Reputable team, reasonably so. Done 4 protocols, but just too greedy on the volume multiplier share. 33%. I mean, it's insane. Come on. I mean, it's a screed. Come on. So that's a huge position that they're going to get, right? Huge position. Now, it's going to get relatively smaller, obviously, as they become a bit smaller percentage of the total pool. But it's still, still quite a big freebie there. So you decide. You decide. Rick on Crypto says, hello, my new fellow friends. So good to see you. Rick on Crypto is playing one of the other strategies that people are doing. I'm waiting until the token launch to scoop up my own ProveX personal preference. There we go. There's quite a few people going to be trying to do that. So we'll see what the price looks like when it goes live. There's always people ready to dump, right? So it's just a matter of you're going to get a better rate. That's the question. You're going to get that huge dump fest at the beginning. So we'll see. Will Richard Hart outsmart you? That's the question. Will Richard Hart outsmart you? That's the king. But hey, look, short-term profits, getting profits is guaranteed, right? So let's take the profits where you can. So that's the top 10 right now. Let's see if we can get that second page. Is it going to do the same thing? Yeah, my bad. My bad. All right, so let's get into the total amount. We've got $11.2 million from Ethereum. So directly have gone in. So 11.2 out of 15.4. We got $3.5 million from PulseChain directly. So this is what we directly can see. So that's $3.5 million that's either been sitting idle or got sold down in the market and has been pushed into PulseChain sacrifice that could have otherwise gone to pump PulseChain. But maybe, just maybe, we will see that all again back on the old PulseChain. So let's go in and talk about that, shall we? Before we do that, let's just finish off there. We've got 165K in BSC, 133 in Base, 120 in Bitcoin. Almost 90,000 Arbitrum, Monero 56K, Solana 41, Ripple 41, Polygon 20, Bitcoin Cash 17, Optimism 5,700, Avalanche. All these ones much smaller here. I'm just going to scroll down there just so it becomes a bit of an archive on the show. That's what we like to do. All right, so that is the play right now on that. We got the second page now. So we've got all these ones all the way down to 100,000. We've got 17 over 100,000 or more on here, and a lot of these all look like they're coordinated together, right? So all look like they're dancing together. Just came out of nowhere on that final day. So presumably it could be Rackham. He was talking about taking a big position, maybe not beating out the public one, but certainly doing pretty well there. All right, so let's have let's look at some perspectives on the sacrifice and what it could mean for PulseChain. Obviously, PulseChain reaching all-time low with the Pulse, bouncing a little bit off that today. Let's see where things go. So presumably we're going to see a little tapering off, as we should reasonably expect as we move forward here, even regardless of the Richard Hart fundamentals video potentially. And therefore we get a bit of reprieve of the sell down and people start buying the PulseChain up from the lows. And the other thing, of course, is people maybe start to spin their projections about where the actual what actually will happen with some of these funds. That's speculation, of course. But Matthias has a position on that. So let's go through this. And they go, let's look at this from another angle for a second. Talking about the sacrifice there. Sacrifice assets don't include core tokens like Pulse Hex and PulseX. The ProveX token will most likely launch on PulseChain, and the initial LP is almost guaranteed to be ProveX and Rat Pulse. So we don't know how much of the treasury gets used, but some chunk of it definitely gets swapped into Pulse. Well, does it? I mean, that's an assumption, right? The OA is sitting on a lot of Pulse. So, it's an assumption. But, if you're wanting to pump the chart, which kind of seems reasonable, then we'll go with that. With the current size sitting around 14 million, it wouldn't. Well, it's 15.4 now. 15. How times change. It wouldn't be surprising to see at least half of what's that's going into liquidity. So, which means 7 million TVL LP and roughly 3.5 million buy on Pulse. So we could see Pulse go up pretty quickly, especially on the thin liquidity right now. If that was the case, right? It could happen sooner than later. We'll see. But is that December the 10th, December 11th? Sorry, January the 10th, January 11th next year. We will see. Considering current Pulse liquidity and pair depths, it's not hard to guess what kind of impact a buy that size would have on the market. Of course, all this applies if the sacrifice assets actually backs the LP. That's right. So that is a little view from Patias, but a good one. And the other one, of course, is what does this all mean? Well, we had Richard Hart, talk about stuff like this. But I want to go back to. Let me just pull up my snapshot here. I'm pretty sure I got a snapshot. I want to try and find my snapshot that I did. Let's have a look here. I'm pretty sure I got one. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. Let's scroll down here. I've got lots of things I posted, but where's this right there? The day 21, we had, this seems to be the last one I did. We're at 11.8 million on the end of day 21 approximately, although it jumped up in the hour afterwards to about 12.5 million. So, let's say 12.5 million to 15.5, that's about 3 million. And that was the end of day 21. So day 22, day 23. So we had about 3.5 million, which is what, 175 per day, 1.75 million per day, last 2 days. So presumably that's going to start slowing down. We'll see. But that's where we are. All right, so let's jump away from that and let's get into what Richard Hart mate thinks about this. What does Richard Hart mate thinks is? All right, so let's have a little quick video of that RH Max clipped out of the Richard Hart video that we've played already, but we're going to have this little clip. And Max has got RH sounds bullish on PulseChain, so we're going to have a relook at this again and play this one.
Yeah, you just keep trying. And then at some point, you're what's left. And everyone else has fallen by the wayside and disappeared and aren't talked about and aren't doing live streams and aren't releasing new technology and aren't doing new and awesome things with no competitors. We're doing it better. It just takes a little time. And by the way, Bitcoin doesn't have an on-chain exchange and hasn't for 15 years. PulseChain does, right? So like the stuff we have is better than what Bitcoin has. If you keep doing the right thing, it should become more valuable than it in a world where the better stuff gets rewarded. And in a world where it doesn't get rewarded, you should still be a lot higher than you are now, in my opinion. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't, predict prices. I don't make forward-looking statements very much, particularly on things that I've founded. Basically never. Like I don't make forward-looking statements just because the stuff's good enough on its own. You don't have to make unqualified guesses that no one can know the answer to. I know that if you have better tech and you do marketing and there's more potential, that's about all you can ask for. And we do have better tech and we do have more potential. And where's Satoshi's video? He's not doing one. I'm doing one. So, man, it takes a lot of time to read your guys' questions. My God. All right. So long story short, ProveX.com, ProveX.info, Hex, PulseChain, PulseX. You just more things keep integrating in the stack. You've got on-chain exchange. You've got time-locked value storage. You've got consensus network that's higher throughput, lower fees. Now you're going to have new technology nobody else has. Nobody else is tokenized. Nobody else has that much pricing power. Cool stuff, right? And then eventually you run out of things to build and you just have more than enough and you're just waiting for the tinder to hit. When I say tinder, I don't mean the website. I mean the kindling, the stuff that creates a fire. If you have all that infrastructure, if you have all the greatness, if you've had a bunch of weekends get shaken out, if it's the bottom, if everything's nuked, right? I think it amplifies potential. So I really think that this ecosystem just needs a little marketing. That's it.
Oh yes, I forgot about my muted. I muted myself for the video so there wouldn't be any feedback. I thought I was going to be clever, and then I was like, I got to remember the sound, and I forgot. So yes, some pretty bullish stuff there from Richard. About the outlook there. So January potentially looking very good, but you just never know. You might surprise us a little earlier. We'll find out. But that is kind of cool. So a nice little positive way to end there with the PulseChain and the ProveX, despite the band-aid being ripped off, and we got that final little bottom, as he mentioned in the video. So let's see where we go from here. Now, the next bit of thing I want to talk about, of course, was the SEC. So the SEC there, we're going to talk about that. Most is RH basically saying he thinks we bottomed. Yeah, that's right. He did say the word bottomed in there. That's true. So it was a good little clip, isn't it? A little clip. All right. So it's good times today on the old Kryptonite show. We got RocketX listing PulseChain. We got Richard Hart. If you really take out that last statement of his, looking pretty excited about where things are, and he's moving his chess pieces. And then we've also got a little bit of surprise here today with Fast Abdul dropping some alpha about ProveX going to be used as collateral for Vault 369, which is going to, as far as I know, going to be the first multi-chain, multi-collateral liquidity fork in the world. So that's going to be pretty powerful, and having ProveX in it, that's a really nice surprise there. Stranger things have happened too. Maybe we'll have the launch of Vault before the end of the year. So that's pretty exciting. So big shout out there. All right. Could be big TVL in the old Vault. Could be big TVL. We're looking to add TVL to the PulseChain, right? It's kind of the easiest way of valuing a chain. So excited there. All right, let's get into the SEC, because this is going to be pretty bullish. It's about 11-minute video, so we're going to churn through this. And this is the just some of the big things that are coming for crypto. That's why I say, the stars are aligning. I know we've had a pretty serious liquidation event and a resetting over the last 7 to 8 weeks. But actually, the future looks just unbelievable in terms of all the fundamentals. So let's check this out.
SEC Chairman Paul Atkins spoke with me about it at the New York Stock Exchange to explain more. Watch. Mr. Chairman, thank you so much for sitting down with us.
Well, thanks, Maria. It's great to see you and to be with you today.
It's been 30-plus years since I first came to the exchange to become the first person to broadcast from the New York Stock Exchange. But just in that 30 years, we've seen huge change. So how are the markets, the capital markets in America, different today than 30 years ago?
Well, huge shifts. Obviously, there's electronic innovation, data processing, and all of that has done away with the floor and the open outcry system and things like that. To now it's all electronic. But it's very interesting. So 30 years ago, I was a young staffer at the SEC. So this is now my third time at the SEC. Back in the early 90s, believe it or not, individual investors owned more than half of the total capitalization of public companies. And so now, of course, that's changed, and individuals now don't own it directly so much as they own it through other vehicles. So, through pension funds, through ETFs and mutual funds, and those sort of common type of investment vehicles. So individuals are still obviously very important to the marketplace. Retail investors, as we call them, are really important. But that has shifted. Things have shifted, and so the markets, are faster now and very dynamic, obviously, and they're global. And so that whole thing, and now the next step is coming with digital assets and digitization, tokenization of the market, and that'll bring, I think, huge benefits to come with respect to decreasing risk and making things much more predictable and transparent on chain.
So that's super huge, right? That's one of the mega themes that we've got coming ahead of us for crypto, tokenization of Wall Street, the SEC support of that. And this is huge, just really, really good, while still giving investor protection. So this is massive, massive, massive. So very excited.
Stay there for a moment, because you just said that individuals at one point they own shares in companies. Today they can own direct shares, or they could do it through index funds or ETFs. The idea of tokenization and having investors own tokens of a larger blueprint of a company. Explain that to us. Where is this going, and what is tokenization?
Well, so tokenization is the idea of using then smart contracts or tokens on chain to be able to, that represent, say, an underlying security. And so then that tokenized security is a security and would be subject to SEC rules by law. But the idea is that if it's on chain, on a blockchain, then there's much more transparency as to where it is. Right now, there's a bit of opacity as to who owns what, and where the company usually doesn't even know where its who its shareholders are, and where the shareholders reside, where the shares reside. So tokenization has the benefit of potentially having, instead of T+1 now trade date +1 for clearance and settlement, the prospect of maybe T0 now, depending on the instrument, and we have to think about netting and all sorts of other things with respect to some instruments. But in principle, the idea of on-chain delivery versus payment and receipt versus payment, DVP, RVP on-chain, is a prospect of de-risking the markets, making them much more transparent and then sure as far as clearance and settlement, because it's always that the gap between clearance and settlement and then delivery and payment is the real introduces risk into the system.
Do you expect?
So that moving from that T+1 time frame to instant is really cool, really quick for them, and that's going to solve a lot of problems even around the risk that he just mentioned. So yeah, it's going to be huge. And obviously, we just saw the Fusaka upgrade from Ethereum kick in yesterday, adding a lot more space. So obviously, that's counter to value, arguably, for ETH price, but actually, there's a lot of users coming, right? So, and Richard did talk about in his video about infinite use and all users and all that stuff. So I think it's pretty positive, right? Pretty positive. Most says, wow, this is big. Thanks for sharing. No, it is really huge. We are early, says Faster Talk. We are indeed. And it's setting up for 26. 26 is really setting up to be something magical, I think, into 27. So we really are entering that golden age all around for just about everything. Right, so let's kick it into the next section there.
This is where financial services is going. Are the major banks and the brokers out there today moving increasingly toward tokenization?
Oh, absolutely. And it's the way the world will be, here in the, maybe not even in 10 years, maybe even a lot less time, maybe a couple of years from now. So I think that all of this modernization of the markets, I think, is
so really importantly, that time frame he was talking about, within 10 years from now, but it's actually like, it's probably the next year or two. And I really feel we're going to get quite a strong adoption of that tokenization very quickly. So it's pretty exciting.
Is good. And the trouble that we've seen here over the past few years is that the SEC, unlike historically, it never was necessarily at the vanguard of pushing new innovations. It was always a little bit behind the market, of course. But here recently, it's been.
While they're buying stuff that breaks, I'm buying skills that pay.
DataCamp's running 55%.
Almost standing athwart the marketplace, and as it's as all these new innovations were coming about. So that's no more. We're actually embracing it, and I believe that we need to be embracing it to keep the United States at the forefront as far as cryptocurrencies and whatnot. There were really only 2 countries in the world here in the last few years that were working to make cryptocurrencies illegal, and that was Communist China and the U.S. through the SEC. So that's changed. It's a new day now, and so we want to embrace this new technology, bring it onshore where it can work under American rules, and with the implosion of FTX offshore, LedgerX didn't skip a beat. All the customer assets were accounted for because they had segregated accounts under CFTC rules, and so that was, I think, a good example of good regulations that protected investors.
So how does this change things for you and the Securities and Exchange Commission?
So we had a crypto task force, which now we've renamed Project Crypto. I gave a speech a couple 3 weeks ago about a new taxonomy that we're going to be looking at as far as what are and are not securities. But it's come time to, let's say, the type of things that are securities, and those are what we were just talking about. Tokenized securities are clearly securities. Other things like digital commodities, digital tools, digital collectibles, those are not securities. There's a test that the Supreme Court came up with back in 1946 called the Howey test as to what is or is not a security or an investment contract. So we're going to stick to that law.
So if you remember when Richard launched Hex, he got some legal opinions around the Howey test, and of course he's had to battle that in the courts with the SEC. Of course, victory on the 7th of July early this year on that, setting quite some cool precedents there. And yeah, so it's interesting to hear the SEC chair talk about that now. And of course, the taxonomy there of what is security, what's not security. Obviously, shares in companies, the tokenized representation of that share value is a security, and a lot of other things like tools, potentially a lot of utilities are not, which is pretty exciting. So very, very, very cool.
And we are, going to define it. We're going to allow then what we're calling an innovation exemption, which we will unveil, I'm planning next month. That innovation exemption will allow companies to experiment within parameters of time and amount of people and customers and investors and amount of money to have a proof of concept, and then to go forward and then get the type of certainty they need from the SEC to go forward and develop their product and market it.
So that's very important. That might actually apply to some of the developers on PulseChain to be able to use that too if they're aware of it. So definitely something of interest there. Maybe FastW is quite connected into the developers there. Certainly something for them to keep tabs on regarding innovation rules and potentially scaling us up. Because PulseChain does want to get some sort of Nasdaq listing at some stage. At the moment, the front runner is probably Coinwell with Rack and Michelle presumably going down that path. But that's very important for PulseChain to start getting on some of the TradeFi stuff. Even though we're a DeFi chain, if we can get some of those, it would be very, very cool, right? So it's definitely something we need to think, big picture. We want to get institutional money, right? We want to get big capital money into the chain, in addition to anything that Richard Hart might do or some of the top whales or top project teams do on PulseChain. We want to get as much capital flowing in and adoption as we can. And so that's that's the biggest area of capital in the world. So we don't want to miss out on that, right? So that's definitely some interesting areas there. Fastador says, I'm here for the tech. He is indeed. All right, I see a comment there about Hex. We'll get back into that after the video here.
You need to give investors and innovators, the certainty and a framework under which they can either invest or, obviously on the innovator side, to develop their products, and then they can prove their concept to see whether or not it's taken up by investors or not.
In terms of the crypto legislation, did we talk enough about that? Because, we had stablecoin with Genius. We're waiting on clarity. Is this the same kind of backdrop for digital assets that we were talking about, or is this something different in terms of the crypto legislation that we're waiting on?
Yeah, well, so the Genius Act was enacted, and that's great. That's the first time
for stablecoin.
For stablecoin, right. The first time that the United States government has recognized a particular type of product, digital product. So that is great. Salute Congress for getting that through, and the president for signing that bill. Now, there's a market structure bill that's going through, the Clarity Act that was passed by the House. And so that we'll see where that goes in Congress. And so I'm hoping that they'll be able to get that through. But in the meantime, we in the CFTC will be, and already are, actively working on harmonizing.
So just on that note, around the Genius Act and the stable coins, obviously the Genius Act got passed a couple months back, and it will basically take effect though, be implemented by January 27, or 120 days after the regulations have been set up by the regulator. So the earliest of those dates. So we could actually see it, in 2026. And that's really going to be a big game changer for stablecoin boom. We've already seen an early sort of expansion of stablecoins on Ethereum, but I think there's been an extra maybe 100 million or so. But that's going to be really a big deal, and we're talking about up to $4 trillion based on Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, by the 2030. So it's a big deal, and of course all that has the monetary effects of circulation and multiplication and everything else. So it could be pretty huge.
Our two systems, because for too long the two agencies have been discordant, and I think we will be able to really work closely with them to make sure that we are harmonized. Our rule books are harmonized, because I've said over the years, like the fuels are littered with the dead bodies of would-be products that kind of got caught in the crossfire between the two agencies over the last 40 years. It's terrible, and so we should be working for the investors in the United States, for innovators, so that they can, so that our marketplace can be more efficient and be de-risked. And so we can do that by marrying the cash markets and then the derivatives and future markets, and how the two agencies approach it. We can do.
So that's fantastic. See the two agencies. We've seen a lot of problems between the two agencies with the SEC and the CFTC, and so this idea of converging those markets together, pulling together, is a fantastic idea. Be good to see more happening in that space. So that's positive. So man, we got everything in the right direction. I mean, it's like a dream come true, especially compared to the Biden administration, which was anti-crypto because it's anti-freedom, right? That's probably one of the big praise there.
So much together, linking arms and focusing on our job. The CFTC has great expertise, obviously, in those futures and derivatives markets. We have great expertise in the cash markets, and there is just no reason why we can't collaborate. We will collaborate, and I think that the markets will be better for it.
We've got more with the chairman from the Securities and Exchange Commission.
All right, so that was a cool little insights there. Can you believe it? I mean, the SEC's on board with crypto. We've got Project Crypto in the SEC. We've got harmonization between the two regulators. We could have the Genius Act operating as early as next year sometime, and then maybe in the middle. It could be pretty awesome, guys. Could be pretty awesome. So yeah, great stuff happening in that space, and around innovation, around what is and what isn't security. We've got a lot of clarity around there. It's just game on. Tokenization, stablecoins, innovation. It's a game on, right? And so what's after this, right? Well, we're expecting the White House talk about how they might buy more Bitcoin, potentially through a budget neutral approach, and of course altcoin stockpiles as well. So altcoin buying as well. And this is going to be more sustained, right? Sustained buying too. So this is going to take an impact on the so-called 4-year cycle moving forward. So we'll see how all that plays out. All right, so that is some cool stuff there. Let's move on into what was I going to look at? Oh, that's right. I'm going to have a look at the PulseChain charts. Let's do that to finish off the show. Let me pull up some of these. I think those are the right ones. So we'll pull up Rat Pulse as well. Actually, we've got one other topic we're going to talk about too, in addition to the PulseChain cause. So let me just get rid of all these overlays. Full screen there. Need some little elevator music. Where we go? Elevator music. All right, let's go. We've got Hex, we've got PulseX. We probably won't do it in that order, actually. Let's move Hex down there to incentive token. Got the daily. Let's make sure we've got the daily charts. Got full screen on that too. And we got Hex. I think we're looking good, guys. I think we're looking good. All right, so that's pretty neat. And I'm going to bring out one more thing to finish off the show. Let's see here. We're going to talk about that coming up. All right, so we'll do that at the end. All right, let's bring up the PulseChain chart first. This is where PulseChain is at the moment. Obviously, the Band-Aid got ripped off well and truly. We're on day 24, is starting with the ProveX sacrifice. We're only about 27 minutes away from the end of that day 23. Day 24 about to start. It's going to be $1.20 for the base rate. Yeah, we got 1,500. We bottomed out, yesterday at 1472. Can you believe it? So 4 zeros, 1472. It was a good year for cognacs in Eastern Europe. No, I'm just kidding. But probably more like France, is it? But cognac, maybe Eastern Europe. We got so we're at 14. So that's our new all-time low, 1472. Pretty low. We're at quadruple zero, 1637 right now. So we've got a nice little mini bounce. These are all pretty mini from this point, but you at this low prices, you get lots of volume. Picking up DCAing the bottom here is pretty cool. Now, obviously, you still have to have a world view that we're going up from here, but it's looking pretty good at the moment. So that is up 10% approximately from that. Now, the RSI, of course, on the daily, we got pretty low, 25. We've been there a couple of times. So obviously, quite depressed there. We have got the ProveX sacrifice. We lost 3.5 million minimum through the sacrifice there, either sitting idle or sold down from the charts. Obviously, there was definitely some sell downs going on there. And yeah, that's kind of where we are. So the big pull days, we had the 1st of December there. We had the 3rd of December there. And we had some other big ones there on the 20th of November. And that first two big three, actually quite a few days there. But the big one is the 21st of November. We had massive sell down there, right? Massive sell down, 6.8 million on volume on this pair alone. Right, so that's kind of where we are on that. Looking at the weekly charts, we're not fully oversold yet, but good chance that we could have the bounce where we are right now. So that's the weekly chart for PulseChain on there. Do I have the daily? Yeah, daily. Yeah, all the averages are not looking good either. So that's kind of the play. So was that the bottom? Question mark. Good chance it was with the old ProveX there, and we saw Richard Art talk about the bottom in that video. So that's the old PulseChain. Let's go to PulseX. Obviously, the volume they're picking up right now is awesome, mad, crazy, good. So 10x almost, or maybe 9x the mean sacrifice price. So doing pretty well there. PulseX at the moment is had the low yesterday of 1006. So quadruple zero 1006. That's a local low. I think didn't we go lower than that one time at Bandcamp? Yeah, we've been lower than that, right? So we were lower than that back here in September 23, not long after the SEC event, right? Back here. It was pretty brutal, pretty bloody. We were bloody there. We got down much lower. I think we got down to 5 zeros and 886, is it? Yeah, 886, 886, 868. I think the intraday might have been slightly lower, but that's where we are on the daily chart there. So, we're not the all-time low on the old hit PulseX. Bullish. We have had a burn, though. We've had over 8% burn, what did we say? Now, there is differences between GoPulse numbers and PulseChain stats numbers. I'm not sure what the difference is, but there is percentage different there. I think PulseChain stats still at 7-point-something%. So I'm not sure what the discrepancy is there. We can't get good quants these days. It's hard to get good quants. We got... so we got the low yesterday was 1006, so 4 zeros 1006, and the closeness between Pulse and PulseX kind of crazy too, right? But quadruple zero 114 is 9 today, not bad, and the RSI there coming off the bottom as well at 30, and so we're up essentially 14%. So Pulse was up 10%, we're up 14.4% on the old PulseX. Looking at the weekly chart. We're not fully oversold there either at 33, but there's a good chance that was the bottom in with the end of the 21-day ProveX there. The rate is getting slightly more expensive. Like we about to be $1.20 in about 23 minutes. But that's still cheap if you're thinking about, is it going to be Mad X's at the beginning? So if you're speculating on that, then you could justify going in at, $3, $4. I mean, what I mean? That's crazy, even though you're going to get a lot less tokens. And you're going to be up against all the early people that are going to dump on you. So maybe we'll get some rationality around that will say, actually, I'll discount that speculation because this guy's going to all dump before me, right? So that's kind of the play. on that one. Let's go to INC token. We had the low there of 52.9 cents yesterday. We're up at 62 cents now. And let's have a look at that little gainer there. We are still just bouncing out of oversold. We're up 20%, so a pretty good gain there on INC. Pretty good rebound there, and that we're down 24 on the RSI, now on 34. And that's like PulseChain. No, like PulseX, that is not the low. So PulseX obviously is the leverage plays on PulseX. Sorry, PulseX and Incent is leverage plays on Pulse. That is not the local low. So local low was back in December 23 there. What did we get to? Let me have a look here. We got to 39 cents. So we haven't hit that either. So only PulseChain has got that low. All right, so that is INC right now. And now we get to Hex. Now we've got a couple of comments on Hex, so we'll get to talk about that. From Wrecked on Crypto. Cause, especially X, going to hit a local top late March, I believe, based on mini 120-day cycles, in my opinion. So it's from Wrecked on Crypto. And did you say March? Did you? March? What happened last March? We're on the daily chart here. What happened last March? Last March, it was pretty brutal last March. Pretty brutal into March last time. But you're talking about a 20-day cycle, okay? Repeated 4 times already in previous runs, says Rick on Crypto. What else there? Scroll down a little bit here. Rick on Crypto says, I'm here to get wrecked only, right on schedule, says Rick on Crypto. Well, you are here at the right time, but you can redeem yourself with buying up mad low prices on volumes and hodl for the win. Thank you, brother. We are in this together. We are indeed. We are indeed. Faster Door says, welcome, sir. You are among friends. Richard says, Faster Door says, Richard always calculates X's from the lows. He does indeed. So you make a new low. You make a new low, and then you calculate from there. The market's not as, the market used to support that, Faster Door, but the market doesn't really support that anymore. Note to Richard. But that's kind of where we are right now, is 0.3 of a penny for just below 0.3 of a penny for PHEX right now. I haven't got EHEX up at the moment, but PHEX is at just below 0.3 of a penny. We're still in the oversold period, so just below 30. Let's have a look at the all-time on the Hex on PulseChain, or PHEX. Well, we did make a new low, even relative to the first day, although that's pretty dirty data on the 17th of May there. But we got the 2,600th of a penny, pretty crazy, right? So yesterday, just 25.86. Yeah, 25.86 yesterday, so pretty brutal there. What's that first day on here? First day on this chart is 25.65. No, 3 at the time. So we're actually below. So we did hit an all-time low yesterday for PX. So yeah, let's have a look at the weekly. Weekly on the PX. That is our chart, and it's pretty brutal. The last 4 weeks, brutal, and of course you've seen the sentiment in the community, brutal. But Band-Aid got ripped off. Rick talks about bottom, and I guess there's only up from here, right? So that is kind of the play on the old Hex. Now I did want to talk about Liberty Swap. We're still doing pretty well in the time, an hour and 9 minutes. Rick on Crypto says 10,000x to beat old run, only to make it back to current prices. We got ways to go, says Rick on Crypto. That's pretty funny. All right, so we got Liberty Swap coming up. So you guys know it's currently the 4th of December in the United States. It's the 5th of December here in New Zealand. We're always about 19 hours ahead or something. And that means we've got about 3 days, maybe 72 hours, let's say, for Liberty Swap. They are launching Railgun on the old PulseChain. And that includes a Railgun wallet. I think it's... was it Rail Swap or something like that? So they are launching that, and that is due in a couple of days. Now, they said it was a pretty sophisticated little setup, taking about 36 hours or something to roll out properly, and they decided to phase that out. Instead of launching on the 28th of November, they decided to delay that from the dev team and pushed it out between, I think, around the 1st to the 7th to ramp that up. Now, they've already done their Liberty Swap contracts, so to be able to, I guess, interact with the privacy wallet and the privacy addresses and things like that, something like that. And so with the railgun, and then also connecting with Tornado Cash, we're expecting some big things. They also talked about bringing in 50 ETH yesterday. I don't know if they've actually done that, but they talked about that. I guess that would show up on Pulse Alerts. So let's have a quick look at Pulse Alerts, see if we've got anything like that at all. But yeah, they may do it in their own time. I'm sure we got anything showing up like that. Yeah, nothing showing up like that at the moment, but that is coming up from Liberty Swap. So that's pretty exciting. What else? Now, I asked them a question. I don't think I got an answer, but maybe they'll answer me because they haven't really been around today as much as I can see. But I asked them whether layer 0 is coming. So as you guys know, now this is not a definitive course, just what I'm piecing together, but layer 0 was going to be able to have kind of a messaging system between Ethereum and PulseChain to have pretty close to subject blockchain, or close to, I guess, with the messaging system, close to 0. T plus 0. I don't know, whatever, but it's close to instant transfer. So therefore, if and the idea was they were going to set up PDI with that, right? And you'd be able to peg PDI to $1 and have an imbalance on the Ethereum side relative to PulseChain, where funds at the cycle arbitrage through PulseChain from Ethereum to keep the price on both chains the same. And of course, so pegging at $1 and ratcheting that up is the way I understand that was going to work. Now, obviously, we had a decentralized meme make a bet with a bet on that for 50,000. I think PDI was it with Eric Wall, and by the end of the year. So he had a lot of confidence in that. So the only way I could see him having confidence is that if he knew the outcome was going to be there, right? He knew, because otherwise it's a fool's bet, right? It's a fool's bet. We've seen other people in the chain there. What does Fast Abdul says? Yeah, that is not going to work. Yeah. So yeah, that is, I'm critical of that too. But that's basically the idea, is that they're going to have some messaging system called layer 0 between the two. They had to set up special addresses for it, and then be able to do the arbitrage on it through having liquidity pool imbalances. So yeah, I don't know if it's going to work. I doubt it too. Fast Abdul doubts it. But that's kind of the idea, that as I understand it. And so they're talking about this layer 0 approach, right? So the question beckons is that I felt that kind of wasn't going to work, and I thought it was a fool's bet. I did ask Liberty Swap whether they were actually setting up a layer 0, because they were kind of talking about it. But I haven't seen any confirmation of it. I've seen a couple of posts on it saying, yeah, we could look into it. We can probably technically do it or something. But yeah, we'll see. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Now, I do understand that there's a bit of a treasury for the PDI community, so they've got tokens to give, but it seems a shame to be doing such a bet like that. Now, the benefit of that bet, of course, was to forgive all the other debts that other people had made, and the people that have made those debts, and get rid of that, right? So the only problem I have with the Eric Wall is that obviously he won the bets, and the bets, you don't make bets you can't, you haven't set up. You want at least a 99% probability or more, right, that you're going to win that bet. Right? You just don't really want to do that. But is that he publishes it all the time, right? It's a mocking, narcissistic kind of behavior, and that's kind of what he does. That's the only thing I really don't like about it. He often posts things, here's my $100 that has got, or whatever. I just think that's a little bit of pretty nasty little stuff. So apart from that, hopefully we don't have even more of that next year. And of course, Eric Wall was talking about canceling accounts as well. And we don't need decentralized me to cancel account, but hopefully people, PulseChain community stop doing these bets. That's probably my biggest point there. Now with the layer 0, it's exciting. We'll see. It's always worth to try some approach. We'll see whether they can do anything with it. But you probably have to set up some pretty consistent and balancing mechanism to make that work, from what I can see. All right, so yeah, we'll keep our tabs on that thick game Diddy, as we say, that thick game Diddy. All right, so that's kind of the play on that one. Let's jump over to, I just want to have one more look at ProveX, since we're almost, we've gone on a bit here, so we've almost got 12 minutes to go. We're sitting at 15.448 million. So it's gone up about 50K since we last looked at it. And yeah, we're ticking away there. It's going to be $1.20 tomorrow, guys, basically, $1.20. We've got 5.3 million in the ProveX pool at the top, and all these other ones that look like they're dancing together, right? They're all coordinated there all the way down, all right, at least down to number 17 or so. There may be a few individuals in there, but it does look like it's pretty coordinated. All right, and then, of course, we've got the ratchet up. We're going to be ratcheting up all the way through to day 54, which is the 4th of January. And then the last 5 days is the flat rate with no volume rank bonus. And that's arguably when we would see an OA go in there, if I remember rightly, because they don't want to participate in the volume bonus, right? So we shall see. Now, obviously, the lower the amount that the total retail has gone in, the lower the amount that the OA has to come in, if they're going to get anything between 85 and 95% of the coins, right? Typically, I think it's been around 87%, somewhere in that ballpark, but we'll see. That is coming up. And then, of course, as per the ProveX site, which I think is ProveX.com, right? ProveX, do I have that one? ProveX.com. The tokens for the actual ProveX could launch pretty quick. You know, I love all the countdowns. I do like countdowns. Fast Abdul, countdown, launch countdown. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Launch countdown. I love launch countdowns. All right, so there we go. Let's scroll down here. Let's scroll down. They've added a few new things to the website, have they? I think it looks like they have. Play video. Yeah, they've added all that. So this statement down here, right down the bottom here, the token will be airdropped freely based on sacrifice points. The token can launch shortly after the sacrifice phase completes. So the token can launch shortly after the sacrifice phase completes. Well, you know, that is the 10th. So we got now it's the 10th of January there. The token itself. So the token can launch shortly after the sacrifice completes. The token itself can exist before the infrastructure that burns it is potentially operational. So, you know, we don't know when the protocol is going to be launching. I hope it's not long. I mean, they've had plenty of time to build it, right? You know, to copy it, fork it, and all the rest of it. So hopefully it's soon. Hope there's no 2-year crap in it. That's pretty much it. So that's kind of the play at the moment. So there we go. 10 minutes on today, day 23, counting down. And you've got a decent little sacrifice in there at the moment. All right. What else there? Yeah, that would be some painful stuff, says Rick on Crypto. It would indeed. All right. I think we finished. Yeah, we're finished. We got to about 10 minutes ago, but you know it's probably going to go up a little bit by the time we get there. 308 billion points indicates the supply of tokens. So yeah, no trillions, not trillions. Hope not. Now the other thing is, you know, are there any other game theory aspects to the ProveX token? Right. So, is there going to be any locking or anything like that, or you know, any sort of you know, staking, you know, other things like that. Now, obviously, Fast Abdul's got a pretty bullish idea there of using it as collateral for Vault 369, which I think is fantastic. And that, you know, probably get a lot of capital in there, actually. I mean, I expect to get a decent size TVL that certainly potentially could boost that. And having the LP pool also set up on PulseChain, as Matthias was talking about, with the ProveX, going to be pretty exciting as well. And it is, let's just look at it more holistically. It is that privacy vision, just adding to the privacy vision that we're seeing multi-chain, right? And that's also going to ultimately benefit PulseChain. And then, you know, you've also got like Liberty Swap coming up in 2 or 3 days' time with Railgun tied into Tornado Cash. So we're excited about that. We know after that they're going to be doing some more liquidity pools, fattening it up. And then the roadmap for 2026. So hopefully there's quite a few elements in Liberty Swap's roadmap for 2026 we're waiting for. They would include the staking of Peacock, the earning of meme coin airdrops, the apparent front end for Pump Tires, a new front end. We already know PulseChain kind of did a simplified version, but we don't know exactly where Liberty Swap wants to go with that. But those are some of the things that were on some of the early roadmaps there. Obviously, Layer 0 still in this, you know, still question mark over that, and actually the success of any mechanism there. I'm not aware of any ones myself, but if you're out there and you're more familiar with that sort of mechanism, let us know. What else? Rick on Crypto says, I can't wait until the roof is blown off the whole PulseChain market. Ticking time bomb. We don't have much longer to wait, says Rick on Crypto. Yeah, I like that. That's good comments there. Howdy, folks. Are we rich yet, says Brennan. Brennan's our TA guru. He should know. You should be reading the charts, Brennan. TA guys don't care about fundamentals. So that is the play. So yeah, we're pretty excited about this. I think, Liberty Swap's looking pretty good. So let's just wrap up what our show was yesterday. So we've got some cool stuff coming. Presumably, we've got a railgun coming in about 3 days' time. And that's going to be pretty exciting. That's a game changer for PulseChain. Expands that whole privacy theme. So not only Freedom Chain, the People's Chain, the DeFi chain, but also the privacy chain. So that's really cool. Aligns very well with Richard Hart's vision. Tied into Tornado Cash, and maybe Richard uses that for pumping a whole ton of capital over the chain for other chess moves that he might make. I mean, it's a question mark over there, but definitely opens that whole avenue up there. And then, of course, we've got ProveX coming. But before that, we've got probably Railgun, probably Coinwell, probably Vault 369, and then probably Tetra, maybe in that order, and then Signum Oracle, and then of course PUSD ALGO into next year sometime. It was subject to Signum, and presumably it's well developed. So if we tie that in, we get a run in ETH, breakout in ETH, then the collateral's there as well. And any of the technology changes or alignment with Genius Act comes in, and maybe we got the back end of Q1 at the earliest for that. That could be a timeline for that one. So question mark on the PUSD ALGO. But those are all frontier innovative sites. They're all doing great things, and that's all on PulseChain. So that brings us up, maybe to half a dozen heavyweight blue chips, including the standard utilities that we have, like Aave forks and GMX forks, Liquidity forks. The standard sort of stuff. Those are our base, the DEXs, the DEX aggregators. So excluding all that stuff, that's sort of the baseline. And then we have all these blue chip utilities on there, hopefully half a dozen by the time we get to the end of the year, if not the beginning of next year, that are very investable, that are all business orientated, right? They're earning money. That'd be really cool. So that's kind of the play. And then ProveX comes into this January next year. And then kickstarts a whole ton of stuff there, and then maybe we see Richard Hart doing some more chess pieces there, potentially using some of the Magic Carpet Ride capital. We will see. Obviously, Richard posted in his video yesterday too about $10,000, or at least in a comment on X, about $10,000. I thought that was really interesting. So he replied to a comment for $10,000. I thought that was hey Vitalik, $10,000 ETH would be pretty cool. It'd be pretty out with that. I thought that's a really good piece of information there. So 10,000 does seem to be a little magical number for him, which is kind of cool. And we know in crypto this could happen very quickly. We just obviously had a pretty massive retrace. We know that the bounce to the next parabolic is probably going to be absolutely incredible to the upside. So exciting times, guys, for PulseChain, exciting for crypto. And the markets, as you saw with the SEC leader there, it's time to get excited. And just accumulate the bottom of the market. And look forward to these big launches on PulseChain, let alone what's happening in the mega themes around crypto and the economy. All right. Brendan says, I will continue to be patient then. Yeah, you do that. Rick on Crypto says, soon we'll be pumping, but Rick for now. But accumulate the bottom, buy the bottom, scoop up the bottom there, lower your average, and be the winner chicken dinner. Now that assumes, of course, you're bullish about the outlook, as I just laid out. So that's the one thing I'd say. All right, we're up to now 24 minutes. I'm starting to gas bag now, so we've got a great crew watching. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. We're having some nice growth on YouTube, so it's good to see. Don't forget to subscribe and share the channel around. We're on Kryptonite, the Kryptonite Show. We're on Superman Crypto and PulseChain X, so 3 YouTube channels. A big welcome to all the PulseChain X subscribers over there, really climbing nicely. And if you're on X, don't forget to smash the follow button. You guys know I'm having to rebuild after my original Hex token X account was taken down. And I had about 8,500 followers. It'd probably be 12, 13, 14,000 by now. Just smash the follow. We're going to rebuild together, as we say. So, daily shows between 5 and 7 p.m. Eastern. If you guys want to also join the Strategy Club, get all the latest intel from me, that gets passes in there. Join up today. It's just over $1 a day. It's about $35 a month. So join up through the Whoop Shop, either on YouTube in the video description or pinned to the top of the profile. So I think it's up here somewhere. There it is there. You can sign up to there. at the tiny URL. Maybe I might change that link, but that's it's weird as at the moment. All right, I think that's it. It's time to leave. We got one more message from who? Who are we talking to? We got one more message. Who's coming in? Stop it, guys. Stop it. All right. I don't even think I must be in a different studio because this has got a different setup. I must be in a different. This doesn't have what I thought it would have on it. That's hilarious. Maybe it's this one here. Let's jump over here. Maybe we do. All right. Oh, who's at the door, guys? No fudge. Someone's at the door. I don't know who it could be, but let's see.
I get a feeling it's gonna be a riot.
It's not that guy. It could be this guy.
You know, you could get a God candle at any moment. You could get a giant green candle at any moment. Giant because it's easier to get them because it takes easier to get them because it takes less economic energy because there's less of it for sale.
All right. So that was Richard Hart. Catch you guys tomorrow, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern, somewhere in that ballpark. I'll be live streaming, and scoop up the dips, guys. Scoop up the volume. The volume's mad gains. All right. Take care. Bye for now.